Is Madrid a boring place to visit? Recently, I was talking to a friend that visited Madrid and thought that the city lacked that wow factor cities such as Paris and London have. Then I went online, and it turns out many people think the same way as her. I saw that an overwhelming amount of people believe Madrid is an overhyped city with not much to see, and what you can actually do is quite disappointing. It seemed that there was a feeling that you should visit Barcelona, Seville, or another city instead. I have to say that I completely disagree and that I'm convinced that people don't really know how to do Madrid. What I mean with that is that Madrid is a city where you need to have a well defined plan and know exactly where to go and what to do. Let's check out how to turn your Madrid trip from a boring one to one of the most amazing ones. I want to start by stating something quite obvious, but that many people tend to overlook. Speaking Spanish will make your Madrid trip 1,000 times better. I know it sounds very intuitive, but it is very true. The more Spanish you speak, the more unique experiences you will have in Madrid. This doesn't mean that you need to learn Spanish in order to go to Madrid. Actually, most tourist places will have staff that speak Spanish, and younger people have at least a basic knowledge of English. However, in Spain, not everyone speaks English or prefers not to speak it. So if you are able to strike a conversation in Spanish, most Spanish people will be very delighted to talk to you. Furthermore, they will be more inclined to share tips on what to do, where to go, or tell you about the city's hidden gems. And yes, I know that this is true for almost anywhere in the world, but it is crucial to make your Madrid trip as good as it can be. Now, if you don't speak Spanish, don't worry. Like I said, you can still enjoy Madrid without speaking the language. My favorite thing to do in Madrid is to eat. Food in Madrid is really good as it has been influenced by several groups of people, a mix of Iberian, European, Latin American, North African, and many other cuisines that have given way to quite unique restaurants all over Madrid. And there is no better place to experience the best of Madrid's food than its food markets. Madrid is known for having food markets that essentially work as massive food courts where you can try some of the best food and drinks in the city. The markets differ depending on whichever you visit, but most of them will have an array of tapas and drinks to enjoy. The most well-known market is Mercado de San Miguel, located right next to Plaza Mayor. This market is the one that everyone talks about, since it is located in a very centric location. Most of the biggest touristy things in Madrid are a short walk away from Mercado de San Miguel. However, it also has a very divided perception that usually lands in one of the two extremes. You either love it or you hate it, no in between to be honest. Why, you might ask? Well, it's not really that it's not worth visiting. Instead, people hate how touristy it has become. Once it started topping all of Madrid's must-do lists, prices started going up and food began to be catered to a wider audience. For some, San Miguel Market has lost its essence and is now an overrated place. For others, it is a unique piece of Madrid that has evolved through time by incorporating many cuisines along with Spanish classics. In my opinion, you should not skip it. San Miguel Market is something you cannot miss. Yet, I will recommend two things. Be prepared to spend some money and be comfortable with crowds of people. Although not every single item on the market is expensive, it is very easy to drop a pretty penny there. And as I mentioned, the market has become a tourist hotspot, so you will be surrounded by many people when you visit, especially if you happen to be there in the summer or during lunch and dinner times. Besides that, walk around, look at the great food in front of you, and choose whatever your heart desires. Madrid has several other mercados, which locals prefer to visit over San Miguel Market. Here are my favorite ones, in no particular order. Mercado de San Ildefonso is the first vertical street food market in Spain, located right between the Malasaña and Chueca neighborhoods. This market has 16 food stands, two semi-covered terraces, and a bar on each floor. San Ildefonso Market is usually very busy during lunch and dinner time. It is the preferred meeting point by younger crowds as their first stop before a night out or for after-work drinks. San Ildefonso is what San Miguel used to be about 50 years ago, a foodie's little piece of heaven, but without too many tourists. Not too far away from San Ildefonso Market, we can find Mercado San Antón. San Antón is stylish and modern since it is located in the middle of the Chueca neighborhood. It is a three-story market, but contrary to San Ildefonso, each floor has its own identity. The first floor is where you'll find the actual market with its fresh produce, fish, meats, plus some food stands. The second floor is full of food stands that range from typical Spanish tapas to Indian food to Peruvian delights. Finally, the top floor is what many people enjoy the most. There you can find the rooftop restaurant and bar called Once Nudos, that is often the designated spot to have great food and drinks in Chueca. Also, later in the day, crowds of people from around the neighborhood flock to the terrace for its good music and vibrant atmosphere. Only one thing: food at the rooftop can be a tiny bit expensive. Heading a little bit south but still in Madrid Centro, we can find the historic La Latina neighborhood. This neighborhood is the oldest area in Madrid, characterized by narrow streets and large squares. La Latina houses the Mercado de la Cebada, a must-visit for anyone that likes food. This local food market has been operating since 1875, and stands out by its colorful facade, cheap meals, and more than adequate portions. Yet, La Cebada is more than a food market. Apart from its great food stands, you can find many different clothes stores, flower shops, a shoemaker, and even a law firm and a locksmith. As I was told, this is a local market staffed by locals with a local clientele. So if you go there, be mindful of that. Other food markets that are worth visiting are Mercado Antón Martin and Mercado de la Paz, located 15 minutes from Sol and 50 minutes from El Retiro, respectively. Although they are less known, they are great spots to grab some food and discover Spanish culture. Antón Martin Market remains true to its traditional farmers market spirit that offers some good restaurant options. Fun fact: the top floor of the Antón Martin Market is a flamenco dance school. Mercado de la Paz is a modern food market that blends perfectly with the Salamanca district, one of Madrid's most affluent. It resembles more a supermarket than a traditional market, but still maintains its local market vibe. Now that you know where to go get some food, let's go over the places you need to visit. Of course, you cannot miss the tourist hotspots like Plaza Mayor, Puerta del Sol, Puerta de Alcalá, the Royal Palace, and the Almudena Cathedral. These main attractions have to be part of your trip, but remember that Madrid is much more than just these places. So after you have visited all of them, you need to head to the areas that make Madrid special. Just like any other European capital, Madrid is also a center of glamour, fashion, and high-end shops. Probably the biggest symbol of this is Gran Via, which I would say is Madrid's most prominent avenue. Gran Via is a mix between New York's Broadway and Paris's Champs-Élysées. It holds the city's most important shopping areas, a large number of hotels, and large movie theaters. Walking down Gran Via is a wonderful experience despite how crowded it can get. Gran Via is a great place to do some window shopping or actually shopping something. Also, you can watch a musical or theater function or admire the architecture that surrounds you. However, I think the best thing to do in Gran Via is to grab a quick bite or drink and enjoy looking at the people of Madrid. Now, what if I told you there is an even more high-end area of Madrid? Sort of what Gran Via aspires to be. Hidden in the Salamanca neighborhood, often considered Madrid's most affluent neighborhood, we can find La Milla de Oro. La Milla de Oro, or the Golden Mile, is where you can find some of the most luxurious brands in the Spanish capital. Furthermore, this is where the richest people in Madrid live, in apartment buildings once built for the Spanish nobility. Here is the perfect place to window shop since you'll see the biggest and most high-end brands in the world in a relatively small area of the city. Plus, the Golden Mile's architecture is second to none. Another area of Madrid that you need to visit is La Latina neighborhood. As I mentioned earlier, La Latina is the oldest part of Madrid, which gives you an insight to what Madrid used to look like in the Middle Ages. This is reflected on the narrow streets that often lead to large squares. It seems like a small town enclosed in a major European city. You should consider spending some time here and explore its traditional feel and charm. The neighborhood is loved by Madrid residents due to its numerous bars, pubs, and restaurants. Just be aware that its popularity leads many people to visit it, especially in the evenings and weekends. In addition, every Sunday the surrounding streets host the famous Rastro de Madrid, a popular outdoor street market. El Rastro is the perfect place to find the souvenirs that prove you have been to Madrid, though everyone that has been to Madrid knows you haven't been there unless you visited a particular park. Any video about Madrid has to talk about Parque del Buen Retiro. This public park that translates to Good Retreat Park is a work of art. Its layout and design are rivaled by few others around the world. A place you need to visit in the mornings, the afternoons, and the evenings, as many times as possible. Last time I was in Madrid, I kid you not, I went to El Retiro 5 times in 2 days. That's crazy, right? Well, not really. There is so much you can do at the park. Want to do some exercise? Go to El Retiro. Want to go on a boat ride? Go to El Retiro. Want to chill out with friends? Go to El Retiro. I think you get the idea. You can do anything your mind desires at El Retiro. The first thing you need to do is not really a tip, but instead something you must do. You have to visit the two best attractions, El Palacio de Cristal and El Estanque Grande. El Palacio de Cristal, or Glass Palace, was built as a greenhouse for the 1887 Philippines Exposition and is one of Madrid's most beautiful buildings. The palace usually houses art exhibits, but it is under restoration works until 2027. El Estanque Grande is a large artificial pond where many people like to hang out as it is a very relaxing and beautiful spot. Here, you can rent a rowboat to navigate the pond, but don't let this ruin your time at the park. This attraction is mostly aimed at tourists, and lines tend to be very long. In the summer, queuing for the rowboats can take up a big chunk of your day and ruin the rest of your plans. I do have to say though, rowboats are quite a unique experience, especially for couples. Each rowboat can seat up to 4 people and costs €6 Monday through Friday or €8 during weekends and public holidays. Renting a rowboat gives you an access to a 45-minute ride on it. The second thing you need to do is walk around less touristy parts. Whether you leisurely stroll around or you speedrun it, you have to explore El Retiro. The park covers an area of 350 acres, which is full of gardens, monuments, galleries, and a couple artificial ponds. Every turn you take, you will find breathtaking spots that will make you feel alive. There are so many things to see at El Retiro that it is a shame most people don't get to see its lesser-known attractions. My top ones are the Cecilio Rodriguez Gardens, which is one of the most beautiful gardens in the world, with its main attraction being the Rose Garden that houses 4,000 roses. Paseo de la Argentina, also known as Paseo de las Estatuas, where you will be surrounded by the statues of kings that once ruled the Iberian Peninsula, and the Templete del Retiro, where the Madrid Municipal Symphonic Band holds concerts almost every Sunday in June, July, and September. However, my favorite thing to do at El Retiro is to find a nice spot on the grass and sit down. You can do that by yourself or with friends, as this park is famous for being a meeting point for Madrileños and tourists alike. When the weather is nice, you will see so many people sitting on the green areas or anywhere they can. El Retiro is the go-to place for friends to hang out or for anyone to take a much-needed break. Many bring food, drinks, playing cards, or other means of entertainment and spend the entire day there if possible. In my opinion, nothing beats an evening at El Retiro with your friends or family, doing literally whatever you want to. I have realized that what you can do at El Retiro is only bound by your imagination and the Spanish laws. Madrid is also known for the arts. Just right next to El Retiro, you can find the Golden Triangle of Art. Three of the most famous museums in Spain are located mere minutes from each other, headlined by the world-renowned Museo del Prado, which is considered the best museum in Spain and one of the world's finest. Along with El Prado Museum, the triangle is completed by the Queen Sofia National Museum Art Center and the Thyssen-Bornemisza National Museum. Among them, they hold works by Goya, Picasso, Velázquez, and many others. El Prado houses Las Meninas by Velázquez, the 3rd of March of 1808 by Goya, and the Garden of Earthly Delights by Bosch. El Reina Sofia focuses on works from the 20th century and contemporary pieces, plus it holds the world-renowned Guernica by Pablo Picasso. El Thyssen-Bornemisza is the perfect complement to the other two museums. It started as a private collection of Baron Heinrich Thyssen-Bornemisza and holds pieces by Rembrandt, Paolo, Duccio, and Rubens. Tickets to El Prado Museum cost €15 and €12 for Queen Sofia Museum and the Thyssen-Bornemisza Museum. However, the three museums have free entry at designated hours. El Prado Museum and the Queen Sofia Museum have free entry 2 hours before closing on every day, while the Thyssen-Bornemisza Museum has free entry on Mondays from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Apart from its top-tier museums, Madrid has its own Sistine Chapel. Hidden in the northern section of Madrid's central district, we can find a Baroque-style church that hides one of the most beautiful things to see in Madrid. Church of Saint Anthony of the Germans is famous for its Baroque frescoes that have crowned Madrid's Sistine Chapel, a true work of art which you cannot miss. I mean, why would you want to skip such a beautiful place? When you enter the church, its decorations will leave you speechless and not wanting to leave. The church was built between the 1620s and 1630s under King Philip III. It first served as a hospital for Portuguese migrants and went by the name of Church of Saint Anthony of the Portuguese. Later, Queen Mariana of Austria converted the church to a refuge for German immigrants and changed its name to its current one. Its marvelous interior was a compilation of works by three artists, Francisco Ricci, Juan Carreño de Miranda, and Luca Giordano. Each one of them gave the church a unique identity and transformed it to a must-visit in Madrid. Tickets to enter the church cost €5 per person and €10 for a guided visit. I have linked the website to buy tickets in the description box. Madrid is a different kind of European capital. Many mistake its modern layout and particular planning with a lack of identity. Maybe it doesn't have that one thing that makes it extremely recognizable, but instead it shares its majesty among its different attractions. Calling Madrid boring, I believe, is a response to not knowing what the city has to offer. Madrid tells you upfront where the touristy areas are, but makes you work for the true local hidden gems. Madrid allows you to take a break and remember that a vacation doesn't have to be extremely fast-paced all the time. I hope this video gave you a better insight to Madrid, and you discovered the beauty of the city. Please consider subscribing and leaving a like, plus comment any questions you might have. God bless you and have a great day.